Women have been misrepresented on television since its invention, and the modern era is no exception. According to a study conducted by Lausen in 2014, only 42% of total characters on television are women, and these women tend to be younger and more attractive than their male counterparts. These differences in representation become particularly problematic when examined through the lens of cultivation theory, first coined by George Gerbner in 1969. According to cultivation theory, television presents a fictionalized version of the world, and the more we watch television, the more we come to accept this version of the world as true. That is, if we continually see women represented stereotypically on television, we may come to believe that women behave this way in the real world as well. In order to analyze whether television is impacting our attitudes towards women, I conducted 3 studies. First, a content analysis, in which I examined the current state of gender representation on television. Second, a correlational study, in which I examined whether the total amount of television people watch is related to their attitudes towards women. And third, an experiment, in which I examined the impact of a single episode of television on attitudes towards women. In a content analysis of sitcoms, I found that women were continually portrayed as more attractive and as more likely to receive comments about their attractiveness than men. This indicates a link between women and their bodies and their looks on these shows. I also found that women were more likely to be emotional and to cry, a promotion of the stereotype of women as emotional, often at the sake of rationality. I also found that men were more likely to give commands, which gives them an inherent sense of dominance and authority over women in these shows. So clearly, men and women are represented differently in these shows along stereotypical lines, but the question remains, does this have any impact on the viewer? I found that the amount of television people viewed was related to attitudes towards women, such that people who watched more television tended to score higher for sexism. I also found that after exposure to an episode of television in which women were portrayed stereotypically compared to an episode where they were portrayed counter-stereotypically, people were more likely to associate positive adjectives with men and negative adjectives with women faster, indicating that television shows, even a single episode, can influence the way that we perceive men and women. So across these 3 studies, we see that not only are men and women represented differently on television, but these representations could have a real-life impact on the way that we perceive to and react to men and women. Television is promoting stereotypes by adhering to them. Thank you.